adorable.
I love
nice
him personally.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. If nobody else needs to go to the bathroom or anything.
Nope.
Do your thing, boys. I'll be sleeping
we
in the
will-
tavern.
Yeah, we'll open with you guys, unless you have anything else you wanted to do during the sort of evening. The light is beginning to dwindle from the sky. It's sort of got that errant light bouncing about still. Was there anything you wanted to do in the evening, or are you guys planning on trying to get some sleep somewhere and then head back to the tavern to meet Bertram?
I had something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I imagine this is the type of town where, like, throughout there are just points where they've put a source of heat, like fire or open flame. Is that accurate?
Say again?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
It's fine.
Does this place have, like, just open sources of fire out in certain points in town?
Yes, some of the key places, like the market, there are actually large braziers, which have various runes inscribed upon them that look of a religious origin.
I know what you're doing.
Cool. Yeah. I would like to go to one of those. Are these made out of brass, perchance?
You could probably find one made out of brass.
Dang.
I'll be nice.
Brass brazier?
A brass brazier that you need as a spell component?
Maybe.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to go to one of those. And I would like to start ritual casting Find Familiar.
Ref, do you recognize this as something that he does all the time,
Nope.
or is this something you've seen him do before and have forgotten and are sort of watching for the first time in your
I
eyes?
haven't done this in front of him before.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So from like, if you're cool with this, Jonathan, I want Bajan to describe what it looks like from as he sees you doing this.
Yeah.
If you're cool
Yeah,
with it.
sure. Go for
What,
it.
Hell yeah.
what type of familiar are you summoning?
I think I'm going with a hawk.
Okay, so take
Yeah.
it away, Trip.
Yeah, so I'll describe how it physically looks and then how Ref kind of sees it. Physically, I see it as you go up to the brass brazier and you kind of start to mold the flame with the herbs and mineral that you bought from the alchemist shop as almost like a catalyst to start pulling the flame and bending it to create this manifestation of a spirit. And like that's what's literally happening, is that, you know, you're taking this fire and using it to produce a magical phenomena. To Ref, you are Mickey Mouse from Fantasia. You are literally pulling magic out of this fire like a fucking god.
Nice.
Like, yeah, because you know, you're doing what most people who use magic do. You're just moving your hands and then manipulating auras and physical, like, matter. Ref is seeing you as some fucking, like, sorcery master right now. He's like,
Yeah.
like, at first he was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And then you just take the
as
first...
he puts his hand into the flame.
Yeah, you put your first pinch of herb in, and it just... There's a little puff of smoke, and the fire, like, jolts slightly, but it's so spontaneous, it's like... Oh! What?
Yeah, you were getting closer, like, try and pull his hand away, and then when that happens, you, like, jump, like, 3 feet backwards.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ref is, like, freaking out silently for the next 45 minutes.
I like to think you keep, like, starting questions, and then,
Yeah.
like, not getting to finish them because something happens, so you're just like... But...
Oh! Oh!
So it's just like this
Oh!
like act of just
Yeah.
and then wonder. Yeah, nice.
I'd be a great crowd warmer if it weren't all real.
You'd
Yeah.
be a good woo girl, dude. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, woo!
So yeah, if you're cool with that, Jarren, I think it looks sort of like you plucking like things out of the fire and forming them into almost these like feather-like shapes, and basically like almost
That's
like
so
a
cool.
sculptor creating the hawk like out of the fire.
I like that.
Yeah, cool.
Fuck yeah.
And then this like flame hawk like flaps its wings, and the flame just disperses into the air, like rising this sort of heat that sort of immediately turns some of the snow that was about to hit the flames into steam as it rises off, revealing a full hawk that just sort of like stretches its wings and then flies up onto your shoulder.
Yeah, and then like just very casually
Jarren.
turns back to Ref.
Jarren,
Oh, yes.
is that a phoenix?
No, it's just a hawk.
What's an orc?
We're orcs.
Said a hawk.
What did it sound like I said?
Anyways, no, Phoenix is much larger, much more dangerous.
I'm not entirely sure what those are either. How'd you do all that? I was so confused, but I couldn't say anything.
Oh well, so imagine, like Jarren's trying, like he knows he wants to explain it, but he knows he can't explain it like he normally would, because he doesn't, he knows Ref won't understand magic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when you would play in like clay and you would make shapes in it, right?
Yes, as Ref remembers what shapes are.
Okay.
Yes.
So imagine I have clay, but instead of being in the ground, it's in the air. And I can move that around and make it do different things, like move fire. And the more I can control it, the more things I can do.
That's magic.
Yes.
Wait, really?
Ref. And I just kind of like like have an open palm, and I just summon a blue flame in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, magic. Great. I've done this in front.
You have to explain this to him like once a month, I think.
Yeah.
It's just like the upkeep.
Yeah, just for me to like remind me, like, oh yeah, that's your thing. You use magic.
Yeah.
Oh, I think. Okay, I get it. I'll get it.
Right.
All right.
You remember your blades when I made those?
Yes, I remember.
Still magic.
Okay. Can
Why
we
else
go
would
inside now? I'm cold.
And yeah, Jarren's just falling behind you. He's like, why else do you think they spark? No normal blade, whatever. Yeah, and he just followed.
Nice.
Yeah.
So where are you guys heading? Are you guys heading back to the house which you technically own, or are you guys going to stay in a tavern?
Yeah, Jarren would. Ref seemed to be leaving, so Jarren would probably just follow him because he assumes Ref's going to a place we can rest.
Yeah.
Why would you trust a guy with no memory to lead you somewhere? Like go on.
He understands basic things. He knows where to sleep. At least.
Spatial memory is generally the strongest, so I'm going with that. Yeah, and besides, like this is our childhood home, so he is going there. Yeah,
Okay.
like he probably couldn't be trusted to go directly back to the tavern we just were at, but he can go
Nice,
back to
yeah.
his childhood home. Yeah, and that's where we're going.
Okay.
Cool.
So you head back to your house, and you find that as you head towards the door, this sort of rickety old shack, you find that the door is slightly ajar, just open maybe an inch or so, and there seems to be some warmth coming from within, whereas the last time you were here it was very cold.
I'm just going to very slowly, diligently draw one blade and look to Jarren.
It just nod towards the door, and I kind of just take out my quarterstaff and have it in my hand.
Yeah, I'll use one hand to open the door and the other just to prepare myself to lunge at someone.
Roll me a perception check.
Okay. That's a 10.
That's both of you.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Thank heavens.
Yeah. because both of you are entering the premises. His perception isn't that great. 10. All right.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, you guys don't hear anything as you enter into the first room, and again, this is the main like living space, but not sleeping space. So it's carpeted. There is pots and pans, various old and sort of rusted, disused implements are lying around the place, but there doesn't seem to be anything in this room. The warmth theme seems to be coming from the bedroom and shrine room.
Both rooms, or I guess they are the same, effectively.
The place where your mother's ashes are kept.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to just kind of like put a hand in the direction of Jarren, just like bringing it low, and I will start to crouch low and attempt to stealthily move into the bedroom.
Okay, so you try and open the door. Roll me a stealth.
Yeah. That's me. And yeah, Jarren, it's perfectly fine if Ref is like a good couple paces ahead of you.
Yeah, once I realize you start sneaking away, I'll let you take that distance.
Yeah.
Bertram, if you want to roll perception.
Cool. Second, my roll 20 has been really slow for me, so just give me a moment.
Yeah, no worries.
Max swag.
Yeah, no, my computer's been really slow. I think it's the amount of programs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'll do it.
happen.
So
Or
perception.
Perception.
Yes, perception.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, you're just sort of like knelt down. You don't hear anything. As Ref, you slowly move into the room, blade in hand. And Bertram, do you want to describe what you're doing? There's this altar laid out before you with a plate for offerings in the middle and the candles sort of lining the top of it smoothly in the center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what you would see is you would just see Bertram sort of like, is it on the floor or is it on like a table?
It's on the floor.
Okay, yeah, so you'd see Bertram crouch down next to the pot of ashes, and he'd be lighting one of the candles with one of these long, they look like matches that he would use himself out in the wilderness, like these long, like heavy-duty matches that look like they might be like a waterproof sort of match. Or just like a quick light match, and like he's lighting one of the candles with it. As you can just hear him sort of muttering under his breath, like he's talking to somebody that isn't there.
Ref just cocks his head, and he'll look around the room and make sure you're alone, which I assume he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll slowly but with emphasis on the final like sort of clunk as he puts his short sword back in its scabbard, so he makes it apparent that he is there, and just sort of opens the door for Jarren to see.
Yeah, and I just sort of Bertram would just stop and just immediately like whip his head back and just kind of move back from the urn.
Yeah.
Shouldn't sneak up on someone like that.
You shouldn't enter people's homes like that. But you of all people, I think, have a right to be here.
I throw him a satchel, like a bundle. Just throw it at him really hard underhand.
Yeah, I'll go to catch it as deftly as I can.
Yeah, you'd
For
have to make
tomorrow.
a roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for tomorrow, so you don't freeze to death.
Is it just
And
random?
when you look at look at them, and
Yeah,
it looks like to be two cloaks that have been hand made out of wolf pelt.
Huh. I'll extend one to Jarren.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Did you make these?
Yes. And I just start to I'll just sort of stomp past you or whatever, and bright and early.
Bright and early. We'll come
Thank
and
you.
fetch you.
Good. And if you don't stop me, I'm just gonna head out of the house looking a little bit mad.
A little bit mad. Yeah. Actually, yeah. As you get to the door, think I'll be... Well, wait. What were you saying to her?
Yeah, so I just like turn my head or whatever, look, and good night. And I just walk off into the dark.
Yeah, the door. You like close the door behind you after saying goodnight, and sort of storm off into the light has all dwindled from the sky.
Ref seems to get kind of sad. Sits down on the bed.
Be all right, Ref. He was never. He doesn't like talking about it. Leave it at that.
Maybe. Well, I just think if he's our father, well, he should be willing to talk to us. At least that makes sense to me.
You're sure? I wasn't around when it happened, but I imagine our mother's death probably had a strong impact on him. Could have changed.
I don't even remember what happened to him at that time. But it's not like the other times that I don't remember. It's like I didn't want to remember. So I don't now.
Might be for the best. Sometimes memories are painful.
Maybe.
Get some rest. See you in the morning.
Yeah. Ref just lays down on the bed he's sitting on and curls up into a fetal ball with the pelt not around him, but just kind of like scrunched up in his arms.
Yeah. Okay. And I think on that shot we sort of like pan out as we get a quick show that time is passing and that the sort of night sky is going past. Get this sort of shot out of the entire town as the sort of sun begins to rise. We see that the blizzard has somewhat subsided. There is still snow, but it seems to be much more mild and light, with it floating down as opposed to almost like torrential downpour of snow. And it seems like whatever gods there are may have blessed your journey for the next day. And you guys will wake up in the morning, bright and early, ready to go fetch Bertram.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a equal shot of sort of a match shot of Ref curled up with this thing like scrunched up to his chest, but like his legs like kicked into a different position as he got comfortable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ref,
Is it morning already?
it's time to go.
Yeah, you like rip the blanket off of him like a parent,
Yeah.
like exposing him to the cold.
Just kind of like growl at you a little bit.
Come on.
Grumbly get out of bed.
Yeah. And you guys are going to head off and arrive at the tavern where you presumably will find Bertram, where he promised he would be. And as you swing the door to the Charstone Inn, you get that sort of, again, the sort of smell of sort of oaky smoked wood as you open the door and enter the building. Bertram, are you currently...
I'm slumped over exactly how you left me before, where with my hands up, and I'm up against the wall. Except this time, the table that's to my left, where I kept my ale, there's at least like 6 or 7 more tankards. One of them's knocked over, and there's like still frothy grossness like on the floorboards below, which you realize that's why they're all stained up and gross there, as I probably always do that.
Yep.
Yeah. And you guys see as you enter, Solveig is sort of like standing nearby, just like standing sort of over Bertram, almost like arms folded, just sort of like tapping his foot impatiently, sort of like staring down at Bertram. As you guys enter, his head turns towards you, and he slams a hand down on the table really loud next to you, Bertram, and goes, "Boys! Ref, looks like your payment for the other night might have lasted this one almost 2 more evenings."
What?
As he just sort of like stares between the two of you.
Mm.
And he's speaking like intentionally like way louder than he would need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like,
Jarren's head just kind of turns toward Ref.
Don't worry about it.
You actually paid for him.
and I just spit onto the ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't notice this. You don't notice this, Bertram. But the two of you notice that Solveig goes and grabs one of Bertram's gloves by the mantelpiece and uses it to like wipe up the spit and then hang it back on the mantelpiece.
Yeah. And as Bertram stands up, you just hear each of like his vertebrae crack as he just stands up and just cracks the head, and it goes, and it's really gross and just
Yeah.
Right. Let's get going.
Right.
And I like look to see that my sword or that my flail is like attached to my belt, and like I have all my belongings, and I start to walk off and then realize I left my gloves. So then I go and I like get them off the mantelpiece, and then I go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and you grab your gloves, like pull them on.
Yeah. Brought your snowshoes.
We did.
Mm.
They're at the door, Ref.
Oh,
Well,
I'm fine. Yes. I'm doing fine.
good. Let's go catch us a wolf.
Be off.
Yeah, you head outside, Bertram, and you see that Huck is like sort of almost compacted into like a surprisingly small lump, which is how they sort of sleep to conserve their energy, as they sort of basically like almost like compress into like a 4-foot ball with their head just sort of like resting on their own like sort of back fat, like legs tucked underneath.
Hey there, girl. Up you go. Come on.
Yeah, Ruffles feathers stand up, looking up at the sky, and then like looks down at the two of you who are sort of still sort of foreign to it.
Yeah. And as I approach it, I'll just hold my hand out to it, and when she gets close, I'll just like shine or rub the top of her beak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her eyes close, just like nuzzles into your hand.
Right. And with surprising speed, I jump onto my mount very, very quickly.
Yeah,
like
you just sort of like grab the reins in one hand.
I use one hand and just lift myself up onto her with like a lot of strength as my armor sort of rustles as I settle onto her.
Mm-hmm. And Huck is like, when standing to get on her back, is maybe like 4.5 feet off the ground. So This is quite impressive that he's able to do it. Just like one sort of like jump off the ground and then like swinging over.
Hammer that, would you, boy? I point down at Ref, and there's a long. You didn't really notice it at first. At first, it looked like I was carrying some sort of tarp. It's a very long object wrapped in a tarp.
I'll lean down and pick it up.
Yeah, and it'd be sort of heavy.
What is it?
Good lad. Come here. And just hold my hand, and I hold it. I grab the hilt of it with one hand and just sort of lift it up, and then have it sort of as a you know how like a hunter holds a shotgun, like rests it. Like it's sort of the same sort of gesture as I have it, just sort of resting. And I go to and I I unwrap the tarp, and I produce. It's just this really, really long sort of engraved lance.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. I'll go slow. Not all of us are fortunate enough to have a ride this morning. And she just starts to move out towards the western gate.
Yeah, Huck starts heading off.
Yeah, as we get closer to the gate, I just want to summon up my hawk and just mentally tell it to scan around while we're walking.
Yeah,
Nice.
cool. And it's like I described earlier, a lot clearer skies, which is one of the reasons why you didn't have your hawk like with you for the journey, was just because of the harsh weather and blizzard. You didn't want to have to deal with that. So you've sort of like been able to resummon it now that things are sort of starting to clear up and have it fly above. But yeah, your hawk starts patrolling, and again, we see this sort of the fact that this town has almost like a bubble of warmth around it. As the hawk breaches the bubble, the snow gets more harsh, the wind gets more harsh. It's almost like the town is being protected by this sort of force.
Yeah.
And you guys start following Bertram towards the western gate.
Yeah, right before we go out of the little bubble, I would like put a hood up that's really tight to my head, and it covers like most of my forehead, so it's like got a shield over my eyes, and then I'll just pull up like a scarf over my face and just wrap it so like I'm completely covered. The only thing that I don't have is like I don't have goggles, but it's whatever.
Yeah, you don't have snow goggles. But yeah, as you guys head off, Asmund like pulls open the gate with two hands, this like heavy wooden gate, and sort of like waves happily as you guys like head off down the road.
Yeah, and I look up at Asmund, just like this is sort of an exchange I always have. It just, thank you, Asmund, once again. If I'm to die out here in the cold, frozen wastes, it's a fucking shame you're the last face I got to see. and I just start to, and I go straight through the gate.
Yeah, you just hear like a call after you, just safe.
Yeah.
As you go, just with like the sickening smile with British teeth.
Yeah, just stupid shite.
Nice.
Safe.
And we start to go, and we would start heading off in the direction that you guys had mentioned before that you had like traveled into, because I would know sort of roughly the paths that a lot of people take to come in and out, because there's only a few safe ones.
Yep. If you guys are heading down that track, I would like you to roll me a survival with advantage, please.
Survival with advantage, gonna need it, boys. I'm not a very wise boy, if anybody hadn't noticed for my other roll. Survival?
Yep, with advantage. It's not a hard roll.
Oh man.
Okay. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So as you're going down this path, what they described as being this sort of like large, incredibly large, like blackfish wolf. You know, something that big would leave like very significant tracks in the snow. Even like the blizzard would struggle to cover them up in such a small amount of time. But as you're traveling, you're not seeing any of those.
Yeah.
And
just looking around, like.
Yeah. And you move for maybe half an hour to an hour, just continuing, like, looking around. And these two, like, trudging behind you, you're having to go at a slower pace.
I have probably, like, a rope attached to the back of Huck, just so that, like, if the wind's too hard, they don't have to look. They can just sort of grab on and follow.
Yeah.
And Ref, I think you have the highest passive perception.
13.
13.
Yep.
So you notice that there is something, not that you're following it or anything, but just the fact that you're heading in the right direction. You look down and you see almost underneath a significant layer of snow, you just see like a patch, because snow is slightly like see-through up to a certain point. You just see this patch of red almost like contained in the snow, like a little way through. There's just like a layer of blood that got treaded into it.
Ah. Okay.
And as you continue, you look confused.
Yeah.
And then you continue on for a couple more footsteps, and you see another one.
Do I see that there's kind of a pattern in the way we're moving, that we're seeing these things?
Yeah, it seems like it's every 5 paces or so. And it seems like in the direction you're heading in, they seem to be getting, with each one, there seems to be being more red being tread, as if...
Oh, shit.
As it was going, like the red that was being tread through was like losing. It was losing some of like the blood from its feet every time it stepped, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, while he's spotting these tracks, just very arrogantly and confidently, just, Well, doesn't seem to be any wolf tracks of any notable size around here, wouldn't you say? Like, I guess
No. Yeah, like I see the blood, and in Ref's head, it's like, they're not tracks. No, you're right. There aren't any tracks. Just blood. Legitimately disappointed.
Yeah, and just like sort of blood. Like as he says blood, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Blood? Like as I stop and just turn nuts.
It's like, no, there's no tracks, just blood. Damn it. Yeah, I'll point like, well, yeah, we've been passing by a couple of them now. I'll just point in the snow, and like I'll go over and sort of dig up so it's a little more, on the surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you see this like blood stained into the snow, and you see like Ref's hands sort of have this like pinkish, slightly blood-stained snow that he's like had to dig through to get to the main patch.
I'm gonna smell it, actually.
Okay. What are you smelling it for?
Just want to see if it's something I recognize, because I've killed people, humans, orcs,
okay,
that sort of thing.
Roll me it will be a difficult one, but a nature. I'm gonna say baseline is 15 for a success.
Okay. Nature, fuck.
Would medicine also be applicable?
In this case, yes, there is music playing.
No, not for me. Interesting.
Can you guys hear it? It's quite subtle. Sorry. I'll replay.
That's all right. Would I be able to roll medicine instead of nature?
Yeah, you could roll medicine instead of nature.
I'd appreciate that. Yeah. Because like I haven't studied blood or anything, but I definitely know about it more in that sense.
Yeah, can you hear this? It's pretty subtle music.
I need to turn it up. No, I just can't hear anything.
I'll
refresh.
Okay.
But I don't know if that'll help.
I'll also stop and start the music again.
Cool. But yeah, I got a 7.
Sorry, there has been music playing for me, so.
God damn it.
God damn it, roll 20. It was such good music for the moment, too. God damn it.
I got a 7.
You hear that? If I put it on max.
I'm reloading my game. It's taking forever.
All right. But a 7 would not be enough to figure out. It seems to be blood.
So.
You taste a little bit of it. It tastes sort of that sort of irony metal taste.
Yeah, not like there isn't enough nuance in my palate to know.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just like looking at him, looking at sort of the blood and disbelief, and just like, might have overdone it last night. And as I say that, I like just reach into my shirt and like pull out this little bottle of this like black ichor, like take the thing off and just like take a solid like swig of it and just like,
like enough of one way. There's a visible like gulp as it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I spit into the snow, and it leaves like a if you drip Coke into a into snow or something like Mark. Ugh. Right. Is it fresh?
Ruben, would I be able to make that distinction?
It's not dried, and it hasn't sunk through the snow.
Oh, so it's still wet.
So yeah, it's still wet, but it's
okay.
probably been kept wet by the fact that it's like in water. So, in like snow, which is sort of like watery solid. But it probably couldn't be more than a few days old.
Is it still okay? This is more sort of meta-ish than I think Ref would know. But is it like more red than dark or gray? Just because I think it would probably retain its color more if it hadn't been diluted by snow.
It's a strange reddish purple, so it's hard to tell.
Okay.
It's like it definitely doesn't look like human blood.
Yeah. No lighter than a day, I'd say, but it doesn't seem human.
Right. Give it here.
Yeah, I'll just kind of like prefer my 2 fingers that I've used to swab some blood.
Yeah, and I'll like grab it and like sort of just mess with it on my gloves, just let it kind of sink in.
Yeah, I'll just rub it.
Huck, go.
Oh, smart.
Yeah.
And I hold it up to her, and if she wants, I let her taste it.
Yeah. She like gives it a look, a sniff, and then you sort of like hold it out as we see like the level of trust that that Bertram has for Huck. As Huck sort of like extends its tongue, he puts his fingers like in between its beak as it sort of like licks at the fingers before he removes them. Let me roll something for Huck. I'm going to change the music then if you guys still can't hear anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to
You guys still can't hear it.
playlist.
She's a dude. Do you know how? Honestly, man, for anybody that has ever played D&D and hasn't had a mount, I've realized how much I've been missing. The fact that I have a mount, it's such a good extension of your character. It's it's very much just because I can just interact with this thing that is me. It's cool. Like it's really, it is cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Huck tastes
the music's really good. Okay, sorry, go on.
Almost like it's supposed to have been playing this entire time, and I've had to like this is the worst playlist. This is the worst. This is the worst of the 2 playlists that I could play for this. So annoying. But yeah, nice. Huck like tastes it and then like begins looking off into the distance, sort of in the direction that you guys were coming from, and then looks back.
Yeah, and I'll just rub the side of her neck as she's like looking, just give her like a nice pat. Go girl.
Yeah, she starts slowly like pacing forwards, and you now that they've been pointed out can see these visible like red patches deep into the snow that seem to be getting more and more like blood with each patch of them. Yeah, we see it like from Bertram's perspective, like a first person, and it's just hazy as fuck. Like everything is like ghost trailing because he's just so drunk still, and just just looking down at them, plus like all the snowflakes ghost trailing and stuff. Yeah, and you're just watching them going past, and you guys continue heading down until Huck's up in its tracks, and is just like head up, like sort of doing the thing where it's basically looking directly in the distance. Its head almost at a 90-degree angle directly upwards, just staring forwards. Yeah, so I'll just. What is it, girl? What do you see? Huck starts to let out this screech, this sort of like high-pitched squawk that you've maybe only heard once or twice when you've had Huck too close to something dangerous. And it's become panicked. You see all the sort of feathers begin to sort of ruffle up its neck like a wave, and it seems to be squawking. Its wings flap slightly, and then it stops. And it looks from like left to right as if it's lost sight of something dangerous. What? And then its head sort of like almost slightly guiltily looks back towards you, Bertram. Yeah. Like head sort of like bowed down, like looks back towards you. And you can see there's like clear, like animalistic fear in this thing's eye. Well, it might not be a wolf. As I just like, as I kind of like settle back on her and pull back the reins as she backs up so that we turn around. We're going back.
Right.
Why? Why can't we?
Yeah, you can see, as with the highest perception ref, you can see that the blood trail leads like over a hill. You suspect that whatever like the bird must have heard or sensed is like you think it might just be like just over that ledge.
Can I send my hawk in that direction? Yeah,
your hawk starts circling around, but yeah, continue with what you guys are doing. I'll tell you when it.
Yeah, and just straight up, I just go, nope, we're turning back, and I start to just have Huck like slowly start walking down where we came from.
Why? What's wrong? Your birds.
Something bad out here, and I'm not going to be responsible for you two dying. I'm going to get you back to the town, and I'm going to come check this out myself.
Come on, let's go back.
You did just fine for the years you were around. I'll start trudging back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just very... Pick up the pace, yeah? You boys can jog.
I'm just going to roll something. Okay.
And like as we're riding now, you guys would notice instead of me having that just sort of like I'm like rocking back and forth with the mount, like just sort of not paying attention. He's very, he's like a sentinel, right? He's just looking everywhere, and he has his lance actually in his fist now, resting, and it's sort of up as like the flag on the top of it is blowing really harshly in whichever direction the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
Okay, your hawk has an AC of 13.
I believe so. Yeah.
No, this is for Jonathan's hawk. Yeah.
Oh, for his hawk.
Yeah, Jonathan. As you send your hawk up into the air, it starts slowly. Starts slowly circling towards this ridge to get over it. And just as it's about to get sight over the ridge, this ball, like a small bolt of fire, very similar, reminiscent to something that happened earlier on in the session, starts shooting towards it, and your hawk just dives suddenly, and the bolt just flies directly over its head.
Like, would this be reminiscent of a spell that I typically cast?
Do you cast Firebolt?
I do.
Then yes, it would be very reminiscent of a spell that you typically cast. And it doesn't seem to come from the ground. It seems to come from almost like level with the hawk, just a way off.
Am I within distance of it to see through its eyes?
At this point, yes.
Yeah, I want to transfer my sight to...
I was assuming that you were, sorry. I wouldn't have described that if you weren't. You would have just got like this sensation of just like panic from your hawk in that case.
Yeah, and immediately I would like send my sight towards the hawk and just kind of put a very firm hand on a ref. Hold on. My hawk's
as you send your sight to your hawk, you see it's like dive down, but see out of the corner of its eye drifting off into the distance this sort of orange glow of the firebolt.
Yeah, I kind of just want to
like dissipating into the sky.
I want that hawk to basically fly around taking the dodge action, but I want to try and see if I can follow the trail of the firebolt to where it came from.
I'm going to roll a perception check with advantage. So drop the lowest one. So it should be this. Okay. Your hawk has advantage because it's a hawk, but unfortunately it rolled pretty shit. So it traces the opposite direction that the firebolt came from, and sort of like stabilizes a bit lower down, sort of like staying close to the ground. And as it looks, you can't see anything the direction that the firebolt came from. Okay. And it seems to have come from like impossibly high.
Do we notice the fireball?
No. It's like this. It's basically just like this sheer bolt that just flew past the hawk. The only reason that he was able to catch it through the hawk's eyes is because hawks are like very perceptive. But it was just like a flash of like a moment of it like going past.
Yeah, in Jarren's mind, he's thinking if something tried to shoot it once, it's probably going to try and shoot it again. So he's going to keep the hawk in the same area, but just being more defensive. And he'll call out, Bertrand, it's not a wolf, but someone's casting spells behind us.
How the bloody hell do you know that?
You remember my hawk. And then you, like, if you turn back to look at me, you just see my eyes rolled up into the back of my head.
Seems you got a bit more strange.
More importantly,
right.
We won't outpace spells in this weather, even with it being as clear as it is.
You're right. We won't. Boy, I look down at Ref. I'm going to huck at you a shield that I have. It's like a little buckler.
Yeah.
So I just like huck it at you and...
Yeah, I'll catch it out of the air.
Keep it on your back. Follow the track straight down. Get them to shut the gate.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to go circle back and see if I can get this thing's attention, whatever it is.
We can help you. We can fight.
This isn't a discussion. Aye? Your mother would have killed me. Go.
Yeah, at the name of my mother, I just kind of shut down all argument and just slap the shield onto my back, just kind of strap it around one shoulder, and I'm just like, come on, Jarren. And I just start kind of like basically not pulling him through the snow, but making sure that I am sort of moving him one foot after the other with me, basically.
Like, yeah, and it's funny that you become the one that's trying to leave at this point because now Jarren is like, you try to tug him and you meet like a good amount of resistance just because he's staring, well, blankly in the direction where his hawk is, and just kind of says, "And Bertrand, you don't think you could use a few spells to help you with whatever that thing is? I know you're no caster."
I guess we'll find out. And as I say that, I turn around Huck and she starts to run off into the up into the fog, and you guys can do what you will at that point. You're the D&D party here, but I run off into the wilderness.
Okay, you're going in the direction where
into the direction, yeah. Because I'm gonna try and see whatever this is and see if I can divert it if it's coming down the mountain. I'm kind of doing more of a scouting thing to see if it has noticed the boys and me, and if so, I'm gonna try and run it off a different direction.
Okay, cool. So the other two, Jonathan, what are you doing with your hawk? First of all, right now it's taking the dodge action. It's a little way away from the hill.
Yeah, it's
right on the edge of like your sort of telepathic eyesight range right now.
Yeah, in that case, I'm not going to move further away from it. And yeah, it's going to keep trying to find wherever this thing is shooting at it from, trying to discern what is back there.
Okay, I will roll again. Nice. But unfortunately, still does not make the DC of the thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, your hawk is like scanning the sky, basically like circling at this point a little way away from the crest of the hill. Mm-hmm. And what are you two doing physically while this is happening?
So Jarren is because I'm pretty sure you can still walk while you're doing this.
Oh yeah.
But you are not.
I have not been, no.
Okay, yeah. Ref is just gonna look at you like, he said we need to go back and tell him to shut the gate. Are we not doing that?
Right. Yeah, and like Ref or Jarren starts taking off into as much of a run as you can get into the snow.
Toward the town?
Yeah. The town?
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll stay just behind you with sort of the shield on my back and me just constantly looking behind me either direction.
Yeah, before I leave the range, I just issue it a command to watch what happens and fly back when it's over.
Okay, cool. So your hawk's basically going to be tracking Bertram, but you have lost telepathic sort of sight with it after a little while of running away.
Yeah.
And you guys head off back towards the town. Cool. We're going to focus on Bertram for a little bit then. Bertram, as you move the reins and head off into the fog, you head up this hill, riding upwards. You feel this sort of sizzling of heat whiz by you, missing you, hitting into the snow behind you, and you hear this impact sound of it hitting the snow. You glance back and see just like a spray of snow and some like simmering orange dying down into it, and continue forwards. You crest the hill, and you see before you a maybe 25-foot long creature that seems to be like a giant blackfish dead in the snow. It seems to have stained the snow around it with red, this sort of sickening, disgusting purplish red that's oozing out of its body. It seems to have been eaten away at almost ravenously, but not in any way that a normal bear or other creature would. It seems to not be eating for sustenance. It seems to just be like tearing into the flesh randomly and wildly without going for anything specific. I'll show you what the creature looks like. It looks like this, but 25 feet in length. From head to butt, but not to tail.
God damn.
All right.
And as you sort of crest the hill, Huck sort of like basically almost rears, like stopping at that point, as a firebolt lands directly in front of a fireball lands directly in front of you, throwing up a spray of snow, meaning you only get to see this thing for a couple of instants before Huck starts like heading sort of perpendicular to the path you were going, sort of circling round. I'd like you to roll me a perception check.
Okay, well, this is gonna go really well, guys. Let's see. Come on, Bertram. Once again, sorry, my thing's being really slow, so I apologize.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, you like scan the skyline, but still can't see where this thing comes from, and you were just heading around. What do you want to do?
I'm going to. Well, the whole point of this right now is that I don't know where this creature is. I'd like to pay more attention to what direction the bolts are coming from, but I'm going to circle around the area. I'm not getting close to it, but I'm just going to be running around, like zigzagging through, because I know where like the rocks and crevices are, etc. in this area, right? So I'm going to just run around and try and divert whatever this thing's attention is, so that the boys can get home safe. And then once I've given them about a 10-minute or 5-minute head start, I'm gonna peace out.
Okay, cool. You are basically fleeing around in this circle, trying to sort of get a vague idea of the direction, and it seems almost like these bolts are being fired from almost directly above you, a little way in one direction, somewhere in the clouds, almost.
Bastard. Like just looking up.
Yeah, you're like trying to scan the sort of skyline, but then you're like being blinded by like snow and just light from above.
Yeah. So what I'll do, just if I get the inkling it's above me now, is I'm going to attach the lance on this this side stirrup that I have, so that it's sort of it's just sticking out in front of Huck. And I would just grab one of the javelins off of my back and just have it in my left hand as I'm riding along. Just so if I can see this thing, I can at least defend myself.
Yeah, and you're just waiting and seeing that you're sort of like circling around. We wait for a few more minutes. And no more bolts seem to fire from above. Like this assault of attacks seem to have stopped as you're like ready, waiting, sort of this tension rising at the time. And this thing, whatever it is, seems to have stopped for the moment.
Nice.
And you wait. And then something lands directly in front of you. Not a firebolt like the others, not throwing up tons of smoke, just something that seems to have been dropped from an incredibly high height, just lands at your feet.
I'm assuming Huck gets
like
startled.
Sort of rears up. Yeah.
If it's cool with you, I'd like to make
starts
an animal
flapping
handling
in the
to
air.
not fall off of Huck. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool. You will have advantage because of your nature and of Huck.
Thank heavens.
So 15. Yeah, you're able to like hold on to the reins as you go almost horizontal, and then Huck like lands back down again, sort of like flapping its wings, and you just like grab Huck like by one side of the neck and like start slowly like stroking the neck as Huck starts to slowly calm down.
Fuck. Then I want to look over to see what was dropped in front of me.
As you peer around, you see what looks like a now partially squashed, bones crushed, but the head of a giant thrown at your feet. A hill giant, its neck seems to have been ripped by these long claws, just lands at your feet. Its like head, like the cheekbones have just like shattered on impact with the ground, but hill giant skulls are thick, so it retains most of its form. And you just see like maggots sort of like crawling from one eye.
Fuck. And
Seems like whatever this thing was, that's like a message almost more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Just like shit, a giant. So I'm going to ride next to the giant, and I'm going to grab just the knife from my side and cut a tuft of its hair off.
Yeah,
giant hair is very thick and specific.
I think you've only ever encountered one like hill giant before, And you had to basically trade a week's worth of food of like a kill that you'd got in order for it to just like leave you alone. Like it like picked you up by a leg, and you were like, "I've got food." Like,
yeah, exactly. Like I'm nothing compared to the food that I have. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so I cut a tuft of its hair and just then I'm gonna ride off back into town.
Yeah, and we'll go back to the two brothers as they manage to make their way back to town. Asmund's like waving happily as he sees you approach, as you're like running towards the gate.
Yeah, once we make it, like we're at the gate, sort of a little out of breath. Bertrand said, "Lock the gate. Close it." Anything?
Asmund just like is vigorously nodding, and then just like sort of ushers you with one hand.
And I go inside.
And he just like stares at you very intensely, like Ref, like blinking at you, waiting.
I'm coming too. And I follow right behind Jarren.
Yeah, you like glance back as the gate like slams shut behind.
Oh yeah, no, my gaze lingers until there's nothing more to see. And even then I still look at it.
Yeah, you're like looking through the crack, looking for any sign of Bertram following, and the gate closes.
Are there any kind of battlements on this wall?
Not anything you'd be able to stand on up on top. There are a few arrow slits with some stairs, basically, that you would be able to peer through. So if you asked like one of the guards that like you tell them that the townmaster owes you a favor, you'd be able to get up there and like peer through some of the arrow slits.
Yeah, I'm gonna separate from Jarren and rather abruptly just start jaunting up the stairs of one of those arrow slit passages.
Jarren was actually on his way up to see if he could get a view outside. So he'll probably follow you.
Yeah, both of you like push this sort of and make your way up the stairs, like both of you peering out the arrow slits, and you wait for a minute, maybe two.
Well, I wanted to do something like up there. I'm gonna just basically have an ongoing casting of the Control Flames cantrip, because I can basically control a 5-foot cube of fire, which I imagine is probably visible from a good distance. So I just want to create the word safe and have it floating outside of the gate so that it could be seen by someone if they were viewing from the outside.
Yeah, you see, you notice, Ref, that Asmund is just like staring up at it like happily. Like not able to read it, just sort of like in wonder of like the sort of flames
Big
dancing
fire.
still in the air above. But you hold that up and you guys wait.
Yeah, I have my
Looking out.
longbow out.
Peering out for a few minutes, and eventually you start seeing this tiny dot making its way through the white slowly towards you. It starts growing bigger and bigger. You see it's moving with quite some speed, and you, Jarren, see your hawk following it above head at the same speed as you see full pelt, like head down, riding back towards the town. Both Huck and Bertram making their way back towards the town gate.
He's not dead yet, at least.
Not yet.
And that's where we're going to take our break.
Nice.
Nice.